There are rules which affect what you see on television. These rules cover program classifications, when you see certain programs, advertising, as well as the presentation of news and current affairs. They are part of the Code of Practice for commercial television. If you'd like to know more about the code, call 1300 134848. For a copy of the code, write to us, the Federation of Australian Commercial Television Stations.
From National 9 News, this is Nightline with Jim Whaley.
Pauline Hanson poised to play kingmaker in the Queensland election. Jet fighter pilot killed in fiery crash. And the return of the Kosovo refugees who fell in love with Australia. Good evening. Queenslanders go to the polls tomorrow in what looks like being a very close election. Premier Peter Beattie has been tipped to win, but both sides admit the final result is likely to come down to preferences and the impact of one nation. Melanie Wendt has our report.
Squeezing every moment out of the last day of campaigning, Queensland Premier Peter Beattie and opposition leader Rob Borbidge began their media blitz at dawn.
I've got your key opponent.
G'day,
here.
Rob. How are you? All the best tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Okay. May the best man win.
Okay.
Rob Borbidge all but conceded early defeat.
Labor's in front, and Labor are most likely to win, particularly if there's a high One Nation vote.
Doing her very best to make sure of that, Pauline Hanson spent the day in North Queensland campaigning by helicopter.
You're all wondering, weren't you?
Preferences from the 39 One Nation candidates are likely to play a crucial role. That might not help the Liberals, expecting a thumping at the ballot box over the decision by its coalition partner, the Nationals, to swap One Nation preferences.
The Liberal Party is the only party that has kept to its principles. We're the only party that's putting One Nation last.
Tired and drawn after nearly 4 weeks on the road, the Premier arrived for the one-off leaders' debate with none of his trademark confidence. Those nerves grew while he waited with wife Heather, but disappeared when the two leaders greeted each other like old friends.
We do get on reasonably well together.
Outside all this, he's sane and rational, and so am I.
And whoever wins has to buy the other one lunch.
The opposition leader kicked off early with a stinging reminder of why there's an early election.
It's being held early because of electoral dishonesty.
Well, there was no cover-up from me. We cleaned them out. They went.
He has acted when he's been sprung.
Federal issues cropped up.
John Howard said that there would not be an increase in petrol prices out of the GST. He misled the Australian people.
But it's the One Nation wildcard that's frustrated both sides.
But the reality is that the election campaign over the last few days has been hijacked.
Where are the police to protect the community? That, to me, is more important than Pauline Hanson or Peter Beattie or Rob Borbidge.
In this election of uncertainties, the only safe bet is that one of the leaders will be bowing out. Both Peter Beattie and Rob Borbidge have said they'll resign if they lose tomorrow. There was no clear winner, an omen, perhaps, of interesting times ahead.
The fact that a whole room of undecided voters were still undecided after the debate would seem to suggest that we might have to do it all again or something.
Melanie Wendt for Nightline.
The federal government is set to announce major changes within the next few weeks to the tax reporting obligations for small business. Faced with a barrage of criticism and the threat of an electoral backlash from the business sector, the Prime Minister and the Treasurer met with industry groups to discuss the government's plans to simplify the business activity statement. Most of the changes are expected to be in place before the end of the March quarter, but the Treasurer wasn't prepared to announce the details until he's confident all the problems have been ironed out.
When you're administering a tax system with a couple of million people in it, you've got to make sure that you announce with certitude.
The changes are expected to include a shift to annual business returns for the GST and a significant reduction in paperwork for most small businesses. One of New Zealand's most experienced Air Force pilots has died in a fiery crash near the HMAS Albatross Naval Base in New South Wales. 37-year-old squadron leader Murray Nielsen was taking his Skyhawk through an aerobatic manoeuvre with two other jets this afternoon when his plane came down in